Hi, I'm Nita Kruger. Welcome to Infinity Within Coaching Podcast, where we talk about everything relevant to breaking free of a lifetime of trauma. Today, we're going to talk about our intention to change. Years ago, over the course of 54 years, I would say every decade, there has been a large chunk of time where I would just be sitting in wonder, knowing, knowing that the things that were happening around me were not right or true or healthy or safe, but I really didn't know what to do with them. I didn't know what to do to change my situation. When we are born into a situation, or when we are slowly, over time, methodically trained into a situation, it is very difficult to see anything as being different. We simply accept what the people that we love and trust tell us to be right and true. It is a whole sideswiping mindfuck when you learn through intentional hard work, looking outside of your toxic family system or your generationally corrupt family system and into healthy, researched, scientific based truths. For me, that would look like, you know, reaching out for therapy, reading every single book I could get my hands on that talked about mental, emotional, physical well being and how all of those things play together. It would be reading about narcissism, about abusive family systems, about the fact that childhood rape is not normal. And a family system that normalizes incest is sick. That is sick. There's something wrong with that. But my point, it's not about what happened to me as much as it's about we get sucked into normalizing some really disgusting things. Just last week at therapy, I learned that my unhealthy relationship with food is because food was in my life, in my childhood, in my married life, in my life, food was unsafe. It was one more tool by which to manipulate and control and belittle and dehumanize me from my emotional self, from my intuitive self. One more tool to chip away and drive a wedge between reality and the need to feed the beast that drove those people to stay healthy and alive. It blew my mind. I mean, it literally blew my fucking mind. Never in my wildest dreams did I realize or would I have thought that my relationship with food, that I deem food as unsafe. So, of course, how could I possibly have a healthy eating relationship with food, knowing when my body is full or not self punishing with food? How could I possibly have a good relationship with food when I've been taught from birth up that food is unsafe? And you might be wondering, like, what would that look like? Uh, Tricking people with, say that you're somebody that's a vegetarian and somebody serves you meat and they think that's funny. And you are not allowed to be anything other than palatably disgruntled. And by that I mean you can be a little miffed, a little sad, but you sure as hell can't throw a fit. You sure as hell can't get up and walk out. Because all hell would break loose and rain down on you. And you were trained to be obedient above all else. So it is with our intention. We can set the intention to simply learn different. We can learn a different life than the life of survival. And that is powerful. That is incredibly powerful. If you just set your intention to challenge what your intuition says is wrong. But I'm not saying to sit across from somebody in your family who is incredibly scary toxic. So say you have an active narcissist in your family, or you have an active abuser, physical abuser who you know is going to hit you, or you have an alcoholic drug addict in your family that you know is going to steal from you and use you. I'm not saying to go and confront that person. That would put you in danger. That's not smart. That's not safe. What I am asking you to do is to reach out for areas and ways that you can fill your life, your mind, your body, your spirit, and soul intentionally challenging those trained, learned realities of the life that you're living. We have every right to do that. Over the course of my life, I have sat in moments of intention, knowing that my intuition was right, that this was all wrong, this isn't the way it was supposed to be, certainly isn't how the Waltons lived. Okay, you'd have to be my age and American to understand the Waltons, but just sweet, good, wholesome, uh, acknowledging of problems, tough conversations without shame and abuse. Everybody wanted to be a member of the Waltons. Leave It to Beaver, Brady Bunch. Can't think of any more off the top of my head, but you get the idea, right? Healthy. Healthy. Healthy should not be the odd thing in your day. But it is only through acknowledgement that where you're at right now isn't where you want to be. That's enough to just say that. And then to apply some intention every single day of challenging the normals with which you have been exposed. It took me until I was in my upper 40s, mid to upper 40s, before I began actioning my intention, reading articles that would create extremely dangerous situations in my home. You would think that I was learning how to manufacture meth, right? Like that I was literally bringing into my home dangerous propaganda, but I wasn't. I was learning and asking questions about safety, healthy ways to interact, respectful behavior. I was calling out behavior that was gaslighting. I was beginning to shine a light on the scars and scabs of daily living, saying this isn't okay. I'm done with this shameful behavior. I'm done being stalked. I'm done being, uh, you know, recorded and digitally recorded, and on and on and on and on. If you're in any kind of a situation like that, you'll know what I mean. I'm also done lying about how bad you hurt my feelings. I'm done taking all the blame. I'm done being the scapegoat. I'm done only eating ice cream if you'll have ice cream too. Other way around. Eating ice cream when I don't want ice cream because that's the only way that you'll have it. And I know that if you're not going to have ice cream, that my life, my night's going to be super fucked. I'm done. Intentionally, I began researching and secretly reading articles and learning more and more and more, and understanding that these behaviors that were lifelines for a toxic individual are not my problem. They're not my fault. They're not my responsibility. But the longer that I stay within that cyclone, lifestyle cyclone, the longer I enable it, the more power I give it, the less power I have. My self esteem was completely fueled by actions outside of the embodiment of me. My self esteem was derived in an effort to please people who could never be pleased completely by actions outside of even my own home. And it was never enough. And it was so confusing because they would be very proud in public and very belittling and hateful behind closed doors. Even that narcissistic glare. If you're in public and you get that hateful look and you know that you're going to be in so much trouble when you get home, that you're going to be within an inch of death. And that death is either going to be at their hands or the thought of your own. Because let's not kid ourselves. When we are forced to abandon ourselves, we begin to walk with death in our pocket. We begin to know death in a very intimate way, a very horrific way. And when we begin to live in a detached sense of self, such as that, where our idolized thoughts of death become something that are so normal, just as if we were taking a breath. And nobody around us has a clue to the hell that we're living in. All they want is their daily dose of ego food, whatever that might look like. It doesn't mean that we have all perfect, great, wonderful, blessed traits and habits. We don't. A lot of our survival skills are unhealthy and certainly would come across toxic to other people. But it doesn't mean that we can't back those down and heal. When we begin to focus with intention on the reality that this isn't the life we want, that this isn't the ending we want. I can tell you in all honesty, I have walked for 5 decades hand in hand with death in one way or another. And now that I am finally sitting in a sense of self that is honestly, truly in touch with myself, it's completely, it's like touching the smiling sun for the first time. Because if you touch the sun and it's too bright, and it's not inviting you to touch it, it's going to burn. And I know I've talked about that in the past, like something so good and so powerful that it's like touching the sun, but it's too much. But this isn't like that. This is like the sun has come inside of you and it's begun to glow and burst. And you no longer hold back all of the good things about you. And if that hurts other people's feelings, and I'm not saying go around and hurt other people's feelings, but I am saying to live your life for you, set boundaries, and if people leave your path, they choose to leave your path. Some of the most important people that I thought would be with me forever left in a really short time. They were so important at that moment. They fed codependent Nita. But I kept showing up for me with intention. I kept saying, okay, well, they were destroying me, and I was still letting that happen because clearly I have more to learn. I have more to learn, and I will not stop until I understand how to make myself whole, healthy, happy, spiritually fulfilled. Bring the right things into my life, prioritize the right things so that I'm healthy, that my mind and my body and my soul actually feel like one. And that didn't even happen until more recently with sleep. By prioritizing sleep, I've been able to step fully into a new sense of self. And that's what I want for you. I want you to set your intention. Set it on something close and nearby. Maybe it's just like, I want to understand better. How come I can't say no? Because I guarantee you, when you intentionally start researching and asking questions and asking, even if you go to a therapist, ask your therapist, why can I not say no when my entire body is screaming no? Why can I not say no? Because I guarantee you that if you have somebody around you who is, you have a trusting relationship with, and that you are being really direct, meaning giving them all of the truths of your story, not just the highlights, not just the things that you feel like you want to share, but you're really laying it all out there and they're working with you to work through these things. They're going to be able to take why you can't say no right now as an adult all the way back to whatever it was that happened, 40 years ago, sitting at the dinner table. There are key moments in our life that we tuck away in our soul, and they burn and burn and burn, and they burn and burn and burn and burn, and they just hurt because we were unheard and we were stifled and we were set on a shelf like we didn't even matter. But the very fact that you were born proves that you did matter, and you do matter. Your soul was put on earth for a very unique purpose. And you have to uncover that. You have to keep showing up for you. You will lose friends. You will lose some of your toxic family. And the people that you lose along the way are not the people who are meant to be in your end game journey. I can guarantee you that. If you keep showing up for you and revealing the true you, the self that you hide, the self that you were trained away from, the genuine, authentic you. When you're a genuine and authentic version of yourself, the universe is going to pull and attract other like people to you, people who are going to understand you, resonate with you, respect you, grow with you. That vibration, once you begin vibrating at, let's just say right now, wherever you're at in your healing journey, if you begin to intentionally talk about your healing journey around people, there are some people who are going to go, oh, wow, that's crazy. I'm so proud of you for doing that. There are going to be trusted people. Then there's going to be people who say, wow, I'm so proud of you. They're going to turn right around and stab you in the back. Those are people who need to go. Those are people who need to be shown the door. Then there are people who are going to go, oh, you're lying. You're lying. They could see video evidence and they would still call you a liar. Those people are just, they're never going to come along with you. They are never going to vibrate at the same frequency that you are, and they have to be let go. Even if they're family, you can boundary them. You can see them occasionally when you have to. You can be polite, but you do not have to let them into your emotional core. That takes time. That takes practice. That takes, really, quite honestly, it's going to take some guides. You're going to need some people to help you shore up all of those emotional leaks that you have, because our survival mechanisms didn't give us the opportunity to develop our emotional self and our boundaried self and our safe spiritual self. Also, what's going to happen is you begin to vibrate at whatever conversational level on your journey that you want to vibrate about, and people who are on the same journey are going to start showing up. Now, it's just the same. Like, say you were a mechanic and you're talking about cars, people who like cars are going to show up. Whatever you put out there on your path to healing, you will find people on a similar journey. And it's a beautiful thing when you finally sit down and you realize that you don't have, you know, a chest and a tummy full of nerves, that you don't have a mind that is racing out of control, that you aren't craving what you don't already have, that you aren't grieving for what has come and gone. It is a beautiful thing when you just sit within yourself and you literally feel peace. Like your skin, your body, your soul, your mind, your smile, your eyes, like you feel relaxed and at peace with self. Now, I'm not saying I have it every minute of every day, but it is a beautiful thing when you get there and when you can tap into it. And I can, with intention, I can bring myself into that. And I can remind myself that all the struggle, the strife, the 4-year divorce, the massive attorney bills, all of the trauma and turmoil and injury and pain and the PTSD, like all of those realities are things that, oh God, I would welcome them 10 times over. I would welcome all of those horrific things, because if I just had a clue that I was going to get here, I would walk through that hell again and again and again. Because I know by me being here, healthier, the first in a long line of generational pain, to be standing here holding, like being the giant boulder in the stream saying, no more, I stop here. And knowing that my children will feel the vibration of me saying, no more. Here, we're accountable, we're loving, we're emotionally supportive, we're genuine and authentic. We call each other out on our bad behavior, and we stand up. We stand up where we need to stand up. And we sit down and rest where we need to sit down and rest. We don't allow abuse and toxic and. We get help and we heal. Our power is in what we decide to do with our intention. You know, if you wanted to be a lawyer, you wouldn't go to veterinary school. That wouldn't make sense, right? The same is true with behaviors that we want to end. If you keep attracting the same type of partner, you have to start looking at what's within you that's attracting this partner. And it's going to go back to whatever you were trained. Absolutely mind-blowing to learn that my relationship with food has never been safe. I mean, think about that. It's like not much in my life that was ever safe. And then when I had no relationships making it unsafe, I created unsafe environments and situations for myself because I had to fill that gap. I had to create that instability for myself because our nervous system craves what it knows. Our brain goes on autopilot. This is what we're supposed to have, so how do we get there? And it hounds us until it creates the same chaos. So, if any of that resonates with you, if you are feeling like, holy heck, I don't feel very safe in my life, but my spouse keeps telling me, we're fine, you're fine, but you know you're not, maybe you need to lean on that side of I'm not and begin to intentionally explore options to unlearn why you stay with somebody, why you stay with family members, why you stay with friends who put you in unsafe situations, who treat you with disrespect. I've met this most amazing person, and it is the first time in my entire life where if we have a conversation and we both have a different point of view, and if let's just say my point of view is one that is new, and this person goes, "Oh, well, I've never thought about it that way. Wow, I I think that I need to learn more about that." We never have that conversation in repeat. We never go back around and around, 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 around 5,000 times having the same damn conversation about disrespect, about cruelty, about hurt feelings and broken everything from promises to trust to hearts or bones. That's the goal. The goal is to get yourself to a spot where you so deeply connect and have a solid sense of authentic, genuine self esteem that you attract other people who have that for themselves. And if they don't have it perfect, that's okay. If they're willing to work on it, if they're willing, just as you're willing, to be genuine and authentic, even when it's hard. Having hard conversations with somebody who doesn't mind having hard conversations is the most beautiful gift because it makes everything else just explode and it makes actual happiness not only possible, but it makes it like a reality, an ongoing, maintaining reality. It's not just where happiness is something that's occasional, that you experienced on a vacation, that you have a good memory of because of one time when all the eggs, on the eggshells weren't breaking. And you know what I mean. If you have to run around and maneuver a whole bunch of things, there's no way you can actually have genuine, authentic happiness within that. You are worthy of all of your dreams. And years ago, I sat just wondering what could be possible for me if I just did the hard thing and stood up for myself in little tiny ways. And it took a couple of years of standing up for myself in the tiniest of ways before I could begin to stand up for myself in really big ways. And then it took a couple years of weeding the garden. And then it took took a couple more years of kind of weeding the garden of my soul and unlearning a lot of harmful self-sabotaging behaviors that were my survival mechanisms that kept me alive in unsafe situations. You can thrive and unlearn all of those things just as I have and just as many other people have. And we don't have to become experts in narcissistic abuse. We don't have to become experts in bipolar disorder or 200 other things, alcoholism, drugs, gambling, sex trafficking. We don't have to become experts in these things in order to become an expert in ourself. When we begin to focus so much on learning about the other person, we're again detaching from self. Instead of just going like, that person really fucked me over. And I'm going to call it what it is. That was ugly. That was horrible. It was cruel. It was mean. It was shallow. That's on them. What's on me is that I allowed it. I allowed it to continue. In my case, for decades. And again, I'm not going to beat myself up about that. I'm just going to be realistic about it. I can unlearn that, but I can't unlearn it overnight. I can't try one time and, oh, it was hard. It didn't work. Because what took 5 decades for me to get strong enough to begin to push away from, a little under 5 decades, let's get real, isn't going to come out of my mind, body, spirit, soul, nervous system easily. But with intention and with deciding that there had to be a life better than the one that I was walking with death hand in hand every freaking day. There were good moments, but there were a few years where every freaking day I woke up with death looking right at me, just watching. And if you know. You know that emptiness. You know that hollowness. You know that feeling that you do not matter to anybody, that you're freaking invisible. And I'm telling you, you're not. Those are the lies that you have survived through. There is a beautiful life possible for you. And whatever you intentionally put your mind to and actively learn about, talk about, move through your life towards, you will begin to grow and become healthier in. I want to thank you guys for joining me. And I hope that you have a fabulous day. Please just take a moment and breathe. And think of a beautiful idea, right? Maybe your toes are, dancing in the surf in Fiji. Maybe you're making breakfast for the kids and nobody's yelling at you. Maybe your car is repaired and you have an extra $50 in your pocket. Whatever the good thing is that you just envisioned is actually possible for you. You just have to believe that it is possible for you, and you have to begin to row in that direction with intention. Have a fabulous day. And work on those dreams. You're worth it.